una puta solo?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Contiengecy Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me, as always, is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, today we are starting a very, very exclusive podcast. This is an all Greedo podcast.
No, it's an all Han Solo podcast.
No, it's definitely an all Greedo podcast because, as we all know, I shot first.
You died first, too.
Fine, that's true. That is kind of the conclusion. No, everybody, we are, of course, a Star Wars reread podcast, rereading through the new Jedi Order line of books. We are still in Vector Prime, staring down Chapter 16, titled Worthy Opponent. I don't know what you're doing. It's Worthy Opponent. Okay, anyway. So, yeah, how's your week been going? We'll slide in Jedi Council here.
Doing good. It's that time of year where pretty much all I do is work a lot, pick up some extra hours, and spend my money on new games.
There actually has been a lot in the way of gaming going out. Red Dead 2.
I got that. That's glorious.
What else has been new that's been coming out?
Fallout 76 beta hit.
Stupid. No, I'm just kidding.
Black Ops 4 is garbage.
I don't know. A lot of I've heard a lot of people
It's
said
right.
that the online battle royales better than PUBG.
I haven't really gotten into it much, but it's all right.
It's
It's better than PUBG because it actually works.
I've never been a huge into the online multiplayer games. I've never really been into Call of Duty, so I don't really know too much about it. But
One you'll like, the Spyro Remaster Collection's about to hit.
ooh,
That's only $30 for PlayStation.
Wow.
Or it might be 40.
well,
It's
still,
not a full $60 game. It's for Xbox and PlayStation.
oh darn, yeah. I probably would be getting on that. Of course, it is coming up on my birthday, so I mean, you could
Buy it.
Yeah,
Could.
nobody buys me anything anymore. I'm too
Could
old.
do that.
Nah, I'm just too old. I don't get anything new anymore. Barely get a card saying, "Hey, you're old now. Have fun. Fun sitting at home and doing nothing."
I'm about to hit that age where I get those cards. It's insurance, deduction, and then old cards.
God, I think we still have a while before we get the. Well, in Ohio, you have the Buckeye card. I think that's still
55,
a thing.
50,
So,
something like that.
Yeah, you get your 10% discount at like McDonald's or whatever the heck it is.
Woo. Just in
AARP.
time for it to start killing me.
Yeah, exactly. Die faster.
What do you think McDonald's is going to be like when we're 55? Do you think it's going to be healthy or like just complete garbage? Well, sorry, complete garbage.
No,
but
it's just going to be the same. I mean, you remember that they did their healthy kit. You remember the shakeable salads?
Yes. I
You know,
remember
and
that
that was
terrible shakeable salads.
That was like their
Any apple.
Yeah, their shtick to try and be healthy, and then nobody bought them, so they stopped it. And they're like, "Okay, fine. Here's a chicken sandwich. Eat it.
Yeah.
You know, shove it down your face hole."
Die from it. Kill yourself from it.
It's
we
just
don't care.
It's just, well, I don't mind a little bit of McDonald's every now and again. I'm if I'm going fast food, like if I really need, I'd rather probably hit up Wendy's or something if I'm being honest. But
I actually went to Taco Bell last night, and their new $5 box
I
is
did get
really
that.
good. That chalupa is really good.
yeah, man, we just ate, so we're not actually hungry. I think we're just.
Now, I don't know why we're talking about this.
I don't know, but I get it. This is definitely your busy time of year. My time. This is not my busy time of year.
This is when you're using up all your vacations.
Yeah, I kind of throughout the year I don't take enough of it, so I'm only working about 2 full weeks this month, and have a few vacation days for next month too. So
I finally took my vacation last week. I took one day off, and then the rest was scheduled, and I went camping.
yeah, glamping is what you did.
Yeah, it was that.
Glamper.
It was literally closing weekend for all campsites. Rainy, muddy, just sitting under a tent doing stuff. Sitting under a canopy, sorry, not tent, because we don't do that in glamping. It was weird.
Yes, glamping.
I enjoy our camping a lot better.
The Midwestern American dream of
acting like you
lazy,
camp, but you don't.
Lazy RV goer. No, I mean it's fine. I mean I've done the pop up camper type of deal, and it's a lot more comfortable. And sometimes, especially if you got kids around or if you got a lot of family or whatever, it can be preferable to trying and doing the tent thing. We still do our backpacking and so forth, so that's a different animal. But
I think a happy medium to that is having one of those larger tents that mounts to the bed of your truck.
I've actually thought about that before. Now, I used to have the soft top to my truck, and I actually did sleep out in that a couple times. On an air mattress.
Mm-hmm. So it's good times. I mean, you get to drive up to your campsite. You can carry a little more gear, some better cooking utensils and pots and pans and a good burner,
Well, yeah, it's a trade-off. And there are, of course, camping grounds that are a little different. And then, again, some of the stuff that we do, that's not really accessible, but if you're just going out there with your girlfriend or whatever,
bunch of people who don't really know how to camp, or biggest thing, a little kid that doesn't really
for sure
want, has no attention span, just wants to be on YouTube. And
yep. That's always fun, but no, I mean it's just another week in life. I'm a little bit more excited about tomorrow. I've got a new guitar coming. I haven't really played any electric stuff for actually quite some time now, probably at least a year or two.
It's the same for me. Yeah, I just kind of dropped off the bandwagon.
Well, I mean, I still play the acoustic, every other day or something. Mm-hmm. I call it howling at the moon, quote singing. But yeah, I got a little used Telecaster coming and Fender, and that should be fun. I'm looking forward to I have tomorrow off too, so I'm just going to sit there and
wait for it.
Well, yeah, it is. I think it is coming UPS. So
it'll be like 4:00.
Sometimes later than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that should be pretty fun. Just to go around, noodle around a little bit on that, and kind of get reacclimated. Like I said, it's been a while, but
Yeah, hopefully that amp works for you.
Yeah.
Play around with the pedal. And
yeah,
everything.
the old amp that I think I got that thing back in.
That's almost 15
I think it's high
years
school.
old.
Yeah,
something like that. Maybe 12.
Yeah, something like that.
You got it after we moved.
Yep.
Here, so.
Yep, that's true. That was a little old line 6.
Spider.
Yeah, I don't remember the amperage on that one. That's not the low end one. That's probably like the 30 or 40 watt. Or is it the 60 watt?
It's the second one, so.
Well, no, I know.
It's not the worst one, that's for sure.
Well, they had the Spider, they had the whatever, the ground base one, the Spider 1, Spider 2, Spider 3, Spider 4, Spider 5. They actually had 5 different models. But no, I mean, some of that goes on amperage, and I don't remember the amperage on that. But no, I mean, it's a good size. It's not like a gigging amp or anything, but it's better than a practice amp.
For sure. Yeah.
So
how much was that back then? Just out of curiosity, do you remember?
I think so. That was a birthday present. I think our parents got me that, and then that little Ibanez. And I don't think paid any more than $200 between the two. The amp was a lot more than the Ibanez. Ibanez was maybe like an $80. I think it might have even been used acoustic, and then or electric.
That's a good price for that guitar, though. That's a nice little guitar.
Yeah, it is. And then so the amp was probably like in the 120 range, 100, 120 range, I think.
Because you got to figure, I got that Squire, and that was a 3/4, and that was 100.
Yeah, that was when you just started playing, when you were a little guy. Yeah, that's right.
A lot easier to play than a full-size acoustic, that's for sure.
Well, that's true. Now, I the first electric guitar I ever bought, it was a Kramer Focus, and I bought that with some of my summer earnings when I was like 13 or whatever. For I think it was like $80, and I actually carried that thing around for a long time and modded the heck out of it, repainted it a few times, re-necked it a couple of times. different pickups, different pick guard. I mean, literally the only thing I had left after so long was the body, and the body wasn't anything to write home about. So, and I just eventually tossed it because it just wasn't worth anything anymore.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of what you do.
Though.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what you do. You play around a little bit. I don't know if any of our listeners are musicians, and I mean, I played classical instruments, a couple, the violin, and then learned how to play a few others in the orchestral range. And obviously, we both kind of picked up the guitar at one point or another.
We both slightly tried to learn the piano and got bored very quickly.
Yeah, that's one of those things. That's an instrument you sort of have to start young
I agree with that.
and have some dedication when you're young. It's a lot harder to pick up when you're older.
For sure.
So I don't think I would ever really it would be kind of nice to learn how to do it, but it's just, I think that's just something you gotta really, it's a very practiced instrument.
Yeah, guitar is much more accessible to everyone.
It's more forgiving, yeah.
There's definitely a lot more content on YouTube and whatnot showing you how to play, and it's just it's easier to jump into.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would agree with that. But yeah, no, that's kind of been the weekend review there. So let's kick out of Jedi Council. Let's go over to the HoloNet. I think you picked up a news story for this week, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, we had a few stories to choose from. I wasn't too thrilled with the Padme story, and it was a little bit on
You were talking about
Vader,
something about bringing her back for something.
Yeah, I didn't read that article. The one I found was just talking about
Her
the
dress.
inspiration for the dress she wore at the beginning of episode 1, which I thought was weird that they're talking about it now.
What are you wearing?
Years ago.
What are you
Or
wearing?
16,
Tauntaun.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
Hey man.
So the story I did find on Fan That Racks. I have no.
That doesn't sound like a legitimate site.
Well, let's just not show people how to get to this site because I probably got a virus from it. But anyway, news is on a new Star Wars video game coming out next year, which I didn't watch a lot of E3.
Yeah, see, I didn't really either.
So it was probably in E3 and I didn't see it. I feel like I would have gotten it on my news feed, but no, well. Regardless, so not a big article, but basically Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It's an action-adventure game set shortly after the events of Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Not much is known at the moment, but especially about the plot, but it is original story around a surviving Padawan. At the time of the announcement, it was revealed that Jedi Fallen Order will be released during the holiday of 2019. So, yeah, so only a year away. It's going to be kind of interesting to see if we get a good action-adventure Star Wars game. We've mainly just been getting shooters, and I've never really enjoyed the shooters other than Battlefront.
Yeah.
But I always like playing as a Jedi. And
Well, sure. I mean, you played, what was it, Force Awakens, I think. You played
Force
quite
Unleashed.
a bit. Or Force Awakens is the movie. Force Unleashed, yeah.
Yeah, I played the first one. It was pretty good. Definitely more my style for Star Wars. I played a little bit of Knights of the Old Republic and
Yep, a little bit there.
Jedi Academy.
Played
just
that's
a
right.
bit of that. I like the RPG elements, and I'm hoping they go that route, but I mean, who knows? It could be like a Red Dead Redemption style game, which is a little bit of everything.
Yeah, not too many can really pull off the Red Dead Redemption as opposed to like your Skyrim, Red Dead, open world sort of gaming thing. But yeah, I mean, obviously, so you said after Episode 3. So Order 66 has already been completed. Little Annie went ahead and killed Liam and all the rest of the little Padawans. Master Skywalker. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, and so we've done all that. Okay, well, that should be interesting. I mean, I wonder.
That's probably going to be a pretty gritty game, I would guess, set in that timeline.
I don't want to be a downer, but it's like sort of seems like it might not have a great ending if you think about it.
It's probably not going to have much of a good end, but Force Unleashed didn't either. I mean, for those who played that game.
That's true. That's true.
But one thing they did do was, they definitely put the lead character, what's his name, Starkiller, into the canon afterwards.
True.
So it's always cool to get a new Jedi in the canon, and we probably will. And you'll probably see a couple of Masters, maybe even a couple that we know.
Well, that might be interesting. That I'm down for it. I mean, I think like you were saying, the recent Star Wars games have been centered around the Battlefront series. Battlefront 1 was disappointing to a lot of people. Battlefront 2, I actually have played a little bit, and I know that there are some people that have been disappointed in elements of the online multiplayer, and I do understand that. And yes, there was pay to play in there, but that's largely, that's gone now. You can't.
Oh, it's completely gone.
You
from
can't.
What I hear,
you can't pay for anything. And I think I had a lot of fun with that for what it is, and just being like kind of an online multiplayer, Star Wars shoot 'em up.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. And they've been adding new maps, and there's been a lot of upgrading to it. I think the only thing kind of irritated me was they took away a few characters, and
they have a weird cycle of taking away and putting in new villains and heroes.
Right. Well, I remember they took away Sidious at one point, and that was strange. But
now you're getting Grievous, I hear.
Grievous is interesting, but I don't really care.
Here's one thought for this new game. Could run into the Inquisitors. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Depending on the time jump, they're not going to be around right after Revenge of the Sith, but shortly after.
Well, it should be. Yeah, that should be interesting. We'll just have to see. Obviously, there's a bit of a time gap in between now and when we'll see that game. But yeah, it's something we'll keep an eye out for.
I'm sure we'll be getting some trailers soon with it only being a year away.
Hopefully it's not coming out through DICE or EA, because for the love of God, they've about committed video game suicide.
It is EA.
Oh my God! Yeah, people.
This isn't that one we saw on E3 where the guy was called out about his.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I was hoping at first to be that, and I saw the EA. It's like
Great. Well, EA is definitely. They've been having some issues, not just Star Wars games, but just in general.
They're the most hated publisher by far, even though people keep throwing money at them, though.
Well, they have big titles. They're a big developer, and it is what it is. But you eventually have to. This is the economy. This is the way things work. If you screw enough people will stop.
Yep.
Patronizing you, buying your stuff, buying from you or whatever, using your services. And EA is getting deadly close to that. I actually think they're there because a lot of people, because like I said, Battlefront 2, I actually think it's a pretty fun game.
From what I see, it looks like a good game. Graphics are there. The sound quality seems solid.
I think it's fun, but again, and we're starting to see this more and more because we are dealing with a younger generation that is about a little bit more about instant gratification and quality. Now, bear that in mind. I'm not bashing the younger generation because, I'm still relatively young, I guess, but I'm starting to move into that age bracket where, I don't understand what a teenager thinks much anymore. I don't
want to.
No, I don't necessarily understand what a lot of the music on the radio. It's like, oh my God, I can't. Yeah, this is just really getting crappy. But at the same token, I still appreciate what comes out, and I can. Being born in the 80s and growing up through the 90s and everything, we were a lot more patient, I think.
We had to be. But at the time, we probably seemed pretty impatient too to other people.
Well, we were. I'm sure we were, but we were living in an age of where internet was in its infancy. Mm-hmm. We had AOL discs and then dial-up, and there wasn't an instant gratification. You just had to wait for things.
But to a generation before, they could say that was instant gratification compared to what they had to go through.
Oh, for sure. It's like when you remember like a movie coming out in the theater. You remember it took like 6 months to get it out on like VHS, whereas now like a movie goes in the theater and then like a month later it's out on DVD or Blu-ray.
Which I enjoy that, honestly.
Well, I like that.
I hated waiting the 6 months personally.
But that's the thing. It's like you watch it in the theater, like episode 1, for example, watch it in the theater, and then it's like, months and months later, it's like, oh, yeah, it's out. I remember watching that movie. That was a good one. Let's buy it.
And Solo was what, a month and a half, 2 months?
It wasn't long.
Yeah.
It wasn't long. So
I would say with the whole instant gratification thing, though, So imagine when we were kids using cheat codes. If every time we put in a cheat code, we had to pay for it.
Yeah, no, I know.
That's kind of the equivalent of it when you.
Well, the
think
thing
about
is like even when we're talking video games, you know, in our video games there were like tons of unlockables. It was all about unlockable bonus content that you had to grind for. You didn't pay for it; you grinded for it.
You
played
didn't pay DLC price for it.
No, that's not what it was. It was all written into the core of the disc. It wasn't, you know, something that you had to download over the internet for. It's just a different way of gaming. But yeah, EA has shot themselves in the foot. Not just with the Star Wars franchise, but just, you know, in general with all the rest of their games. So hopefully they pick themselves back up, because you know, in this great country we live in, and America truly is a great country. I don't care what anybody says. You know, we do have our issues and our problems, and we're not going to really go into politics on this. But you know, when you really view all this stuff, you know, it's never that bad. It's never as bad as what we view. So,
and ultimately, if they keep going the route they are headed, well, our American way will kind of sort that out, because they'll shut down.
Yep, exactly.
Eventually, people get tired of it, and it won't happen again.
We'll move on. But you know,
companies will learn from it, and it'll get better.
Yeah,
you just gotta put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly. I kind of lost my train of thought there. I'm glad you kind of picked me back up, because
food coma.
Well, yeah, it's just getting to that time of day, I guess. But no, what I was attempting to say before I started rambling, and then you had to sort of set me straight there, and I'm not editing any of that out, because that's not what I do. But anyway, no, I don't. You know, in this country, you have the explicit right to fail.
Yep.
But you also have the right to pick yourself back up and try again, and fail and try again, and you know that's the point. You know, dust yourself off, rise from the ashes, so to speak, and do better. But if you don't do better, you have the right to fall back down, and we have the right not to buy your crap.
That's right. That's the great part of our country.
There you go.
We make decisions with money.
So anyway, let's go ahead and pop on out, unless you had anything more to that article.
No, that's literally it. I mean,
okay,
a lot of speculation, but yeah, excited to see what happens. But we won't know much for a little while.
Yep. Well, that's a good start at least. So let's go ahead and pop into our chapter. Again, we are in chapter 16, Worthy Opponent. So we left off on. Oh man, what was that planet called? I really should write some of this stuff down.
One Han was on.
Serpidol. Yeah, we're still trying to figure out the pronunciation. But yeah, Han and Anakin and Chewbacca go to Serpidol, and basically
stuff happened.
Well,
the goddess.
The moon. The moon's coming down on the planet.
What was the phrase? Topikaru.
Oh,
like that.
Yeah, that's right.
That's probably wrong. I'm just guessing here.
Hey, that sounds right. But yeah, so we left them off at the planet, you know, effectively trying to solve this crisis, which we know is kind of part of the Yuuzhan plot here. So in chapter 16, we pick back up with Luke and Mara and the Jade Saber as they approach the now yellow and green planet known as Belkanon. Yep. And Belkanon, of course, was the planet that housed the Excal 4 station, scientific station. And
certain interesting character there, too, I think.
I don't know who the character is.
Actually, two, but
I don't remember any of the characters anymore. It's too long ago. No, of course, this was where Danny was heading up this operation, and of course, our favorite Yuuzhan Vong warrior, Yalman Kar, and his path of destruction.
and his Villips. Can't forget his Villips.
Don't forget the Villips. So, okay, let's see here. So they come down to the planet, and obviously they both see something's wrong. This
doesn't look right.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything's dead.
Well, the thing is that they had some intel about the planet. You know, it was blue skies, lots of trees, some lakes, some little water bodies,
deadly panthers.
Yeah, he was basically like, this would be idyllic if it didn't happen to have deadly razor sharp panthers. So, but now, of course, as we know, Yamankar went ahead and released his Beetles of Death to essentially create an ecological disaster, which essentially rendered the planet essentially dead. Yeah.
Except for, I don't think they really touched much on the trees. It seemed like it didn't kill plant life.
Well, it said it browned it. I don't know if that necessarily means it's
haze in the air or the actual plants themselves.
I don't think they really explain that all that well. I would have to assume that if I were just thinking about it logically, because they do say that the air was heavy in carbon dioxide and methane, and it was getting hot.
Yeah.
So
Don't
essentially,
see the plant life surviving that.
Yeah. So I would say probably the plant life is most likely, if not close to dying, probably dead at this point. Now, Luke and Mara kind of both have sort of a little conversation here. They obviously don't know about the Yuuzhan Vong yet, but they're kind of thinking, hey, man, was this maybe the Exgal folks like screwing around and maybe like experimenting with this planet? Which, Exgal is not necessarily tied to the Republic. I mean, they're a scientific community, I guess you'd maybe say, like a group, but not necessarily tied down by all the rules. Well, now we know they obviously didn't cause this, so they do have morals. That they are true scientists, but at the same time, Luke and Mara are like, well, maybe they're playing around, playing around a little bit. Now Mara kind of wants to go down, but Luke is sort of like thinking in the back of its head. He kind of notices that his wife is a little paler.
Yep. She's been through a lot.
A little
lately.
drained. And so he doesn't really want to go down there because he's essentially trying to protect her. Now, being Mara Jade and the badass she is, she basically is like, listen, Luke, you need to stop being a pansy and get over it, and let's go check this out. There could be people down there, okay?
Grandmaster Luke, don't be a pansy.
Only his wife could say it.
And Jason.
Jason.
Yeah,
you never know. Oh, let's see here. So Luke does say, in his little waffle, we haven't got the right equipment. we can get a preliminary scan and relay that information, but the Jade Saber isn't really built for flying into that mess.
And that just offends the heck out of Mars. My ship is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, she's like, the Jade Saber can fly through a firestorm. She can blow a starfighter out of the sky and run circles around star destroyers. So, which is
I
true.
think most ships can run circles around star destroyers.
Well, the Han does have a lot of maneuvers, but as we all know, he just kind of lifts lazily to the left.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see here. And then Luke, he's still trying, but neither of us are trained in there. And then of course Mara's like, there might be
What? Don't be a pansy.
Yeah. There might be people down there. So, Mara knows what he's trying to do, and then Luke eventually, he figures it. He's like, okay, yeah, she knows. So then Lark Skywalker. That's like the off-brand Luke. That's the Chinese toy copy you get in like an Odd Lots or something. Lark Skywalker and D323 or something like that. Okay, sorry about that. So
Han's Solo.
So Luke then says, basically it'll be a rough ride down, but so they're going. There was something in here that I thought was a little odd. So they're kind of scanning around and everything. They need to find the station, and it's hazy, it's rocky ride. So they're basically trying to find this, but I didn't really understand this. I don't think they really said anything about it. So he basically, tries to get R2 to kind of like, he's like, hey, what do you see? And, let's see here. He looked back to R2-D2 and asked the droid to try and make sense of it. And R2-D2's answer scrolled across the screen, a jumble of incoherent letters and symbols. Luke says, "Are you all right?" And then R2-D2 whistled like a drunken pirate. Did you catch that when you were reading it?
I guess I didn't.
Well, I was just like, what the heck does that even mean? I mean, because Luke seems to have, I mean, well, he does. He has an understanding of the beeps and the boops and everything. You know, he can kind of understand what they're saying to him. I mean, he speaks the language of, you know, whatever. But anyway, but R2's now kind of incoherent and whistling like a drunk pirate. So
Are we?
But they didn't really. I don't think they really explained that anywhere in here. Like if that was a thing, like because I started thinking when I read it, it's like, God, is the atmosphere getting inside the ship and screwing with them or whatever? Or
Yeah,
I don't think there was anything really explained about that. I just thought that was kind of strange. So anyway, let's see here. And then Luke moves in closer and read sulfur. He said and looked up a volcano.
Yes.
Yes.
A volcano on the lush green planet of Belkaden.
A beetle volcano. Oh, let's see here. Now, Luke at this point starts to reach out with the Force. Again, to find, you know, to kind of feel if there's anything going on the planet, but also to help find their way to the station. And Mara asks him, "Are you feeling anything?" And Luke replied, "Belkaden's not dead. It's just
different."
Yeah, different.
Another kind of weird comment. I mean, it's pretty much everything's dead.
Well,
you would sense all that death, and
true.
that'd be the first thing you would talk about.
But then, you know, I think the reason he says that is because eventually when they do get to the planet, there are still beetles alive there. True. So I think that's kind of what he's picking up on. But yeah, it's just kind of an odd thing.
I wonder how far ahead we jumped when they found Belkaden in this state. Like weeks, months?
There actually was a mark in here where they started talking about like one of the journals that we'll get to it. But there was a journal that they were reading, and they said that the last entry was a week ago. So this is basically a week.
Gotcha.
Of time that had passed since the crew was normal duty. So let's call it a week.
Gotcha.
Let's see here. So they're doing a little bit of flying around here. They do find kind of a piece of the planet where I guess there was some ice cap or whatever that you know the atmosphere's not quite as dank. It's
dank
just
chicken nuggets.
It's just not quite as dank. We're bringing in a lot of memes here that people are not going to understand, but it's cool. Maybe we'll just make them our own.
But we didn't lose them with video games and music. We lost them with memes.
Well, I can't remember. There was one I said earlier, and it's specific to it's very specific, and I still say it because I've heard it enough. But it's like nobody's gonna know what the heck I'm talking about. Anyway, whatever. We're going on dank memes. Okay, so they do finally find Excal. And then you know they start their landing. However, our shift in view here comes to Yamin Kar in all of his warrior glory. He looked out the window, seeing the ship make a pass, and this was kind of interesting. So obviously the Yuuzhan Vong are very against technology, but he had to admit that this ship, with its sleek fish head design and swept-back tail fin, and its flared side pods protecting the twin ion drives, was among the most beautiful he had seen. It cut the vapor trails with hardly a wake, and the movement swift and sure. So, you know, they do hate technology, but, you know, I think that this is an interesting insight in them. They actually can see beauty in things.
Well, and he's also had fairly extensive training on how to repair ships.
That's true.
And
that's true.
Electronics.
Well, he's definitely undercover. Well, not now. He was.
Gotta wonder what his psyche was like going through all that training.
Very true. Yeah, that's an interesting thing.
Try imagine learning so much about something you just hate with a burning passion and just want to destroy.
Right. Exactly.
Definitely interesting.
So I want to kind of describe what he has here. So smiling with satisfaction, the previously bored warrior strapped on his Vondoon crab shell, plated armor, and his bandolier of flying thud bugs. Did a quick check of his pouch of sentient and binding Blorash jelly. And took out his amphistaff. reading this really brought back a lot of memories of reading through the series. The amphistaphs are actually pretty cool.
Yeah, they are pretty sweet.
It's a snake.
Yeah.
That essentially like
turns to stone.
Yeah, when it goes rigid, it's as hard as stone. So it's just funny. I started remembering this, but yeah, the crab shelled armor. So he's basically wearing a crab. He's got some
crab people. Crab.
yeah. He's got a bandolier of flying thud bugs, which are kind of like his grenades.
Yeah,
I
I feel like they really didn't explain the thud bugs very well at this point.
They're just kind of like a thrown weapon. He throws them out. They just kind of like attack you. Do you remember the movie Phantasm? It was like a horror movie. The tall man with the little spherical. Dad let me watch that one time when I was like, I don't even know. I was really young and. It was kind of a little scary for like a young kid at the time, but he would throw out these silver chrome spherical balls, and they'd have like little knives and stuff and stick up and kill you. That's not exactly the same thing here, but it's a similar usage, I guess.
So is it like a one-time deal, or can he reuse these thud bugs? Do they die on impact?
That's a good question. I don't think they do. I think they could probably reuse them. Well, not the ones in this chapter.
Yeah, no,
we'll get
not these ones.
But yeah,
That's why I asked that, because of this chapter.
So no blasters. He's got flying bugs. He's got a snake staff, a rock snake staff.
I have to say, that's the coolest Yuuzhan Vong tool.
It is actually really cool. Now, again, they go on to kind of describe this. So let's see here. Amphistaff, another living creature, a vicious serpent that could harden all or part of its body.
Or become supple.
Yeah, oh God.
They love that word with this
thing.
Yeah,
exactly. To the consistency of stone, including narrowing its neck and tail, so that they could cut like a razor or could become supple and whip-like for its Yuuzhan Vong master. So basically you have a spear or a whip. Could you
always changing
just
form too?
Whipping a snake.
It sounds like a bad spoof of Indiana Jones.
Yeah, exactly. So in the hands of a true warrior like Yamankar, the amphistaff could become a deadly missile weapon as well, a spear to hurl, or it could spit forth a stream of venom 20 meters with stunning accuracy, blinding opponents instantly and killing them slowly over many agonizing hours as the poison seeped in through pores and wounds.
In other words, OPAF.
Oh, yeah. AF, bro. Oh, let's see here. So he's armed to the proverbial Yuuzhan Vong teeth, and he is preparing for his guest.
A worthy opponent.
Oh, they said it. No, just kidding.
No, they don't say that.
Actually, they kind of
not yet. Spoilers.
Spoilers. Okie dokie. So Mara and Luke and R2 land on the planet. I thought that was kind of funny. Like he sends R2 to like hack the door, and then Mara just shoots
the door.
He's like, "Oh, well, that's good." It's like, who cares? Who cares now? I mean,
everything's dead.
They do notice some blood on the door.
Ooh, ominous.
Which is funny because they notice the blood on the door, and then they like just don't think about it. It's like, that's just some blood. Somebody might have had a bloody nose sneeze.
Yeah.
Or it was a panther's blood. I don't know.
It's kind of the setup to a terrible horror movie right now.
Yeah. Quick, run upstairs. God.
Quick, don't notice your wife.
Oh, God. Yeah.
We'll get to
that, too. Oh, let's see here. I'm going to skip ahead. Excuse me, I got a cough. You didn't take over. Jeez, good job.
I'm so sorry.
I'm going to skip ahead just here a little bit because... not much. They do go in. Mara does notice that the station, she says it's like a tomb. And it is. But anyway, essentially Mara and Luke task R2 to get into the records and the computers and download what he can. While they kind of go off and sort of explore, Luke goes towards the crew quarters. And where did Mara go?
Remember, I believe she was.
A little bit here. Oh no! It looks like she goes into some other quarters as well.
Command pod.
Yeah. No. Okay. No. Was it Luke that went in the command? I might be mixing that.
Mara did likewise a move to the central command pod.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, she did. She does wind up going through a couple lockers. Oh, jeez. Can't keep my voice there, man. Need a drink of water or something. But yeah, she's looking through she's looking through some of the crew stuff there too. Yeah.
Yeah, and R2's kind of doing his thing. He's trying to download the data left from the ship, and while he's doing that, Mara does notice beetles, the same beetles that she noticed outside.
Right.
Same species. The ones outside had already died, I believe.
I think she found one alive outside, and then, but yeah, the majority of them were dead.
Through a bunch of dead ones. R2 was kind of freaking out. Like, I don't want to drive through the dead ones.
She was not. He was not happy. She also got like a little bit of the Beatles juiciness on her finger. She kind of like had. I think she kind of had like a little moment there, like something familiar.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I wonder what that could be.
I don't know. But she finds one in a jar and kind of immediately thinks, the scientists might have caused this. The beetles are important somehow.
Exactly. Well, I mean, she's obviously not completely over the scientists, but she then starts to kind of think, maybe did the scientists suspect something, or maybe were they on to something as well? But she does. She also finds a journal here, doesn't she? There was only like one little page that she read. The page ended ominously. Perhaps it is natural, but I believe it is linked to, and then it cuts off. So, but all this fun digging through other people's personal lives was interrupted by a screech from R2. So
a drunken pirate screech?
I don't know anymore. I didn't get that line. But anyway, he's still out there downloading. He's specifically at 70%.
Mm-hmm. Always at 70%.
Yeah, apparently. When a figure came out of the shadows, leapt atop one of the pods in the front row, clad in some dark-plated armor unlike anything R2-D2 had ever seen, and holding a snake-headed staff, he roared at R2-D2 a stream of curses and snarls. Infidel, perversion, sacrilege, and then stomped his foot down on the console, sending a spray of sparks. So, action R2! R2's trying to flee.
Ow!
Oh, God, yeah, making sounds. But at this point, Mara does rush in the room. She says, "Stop. We are not your enemies."
It's an abomination. It's a droid.
Ow! Yeah, exactly. At this point, actually kind of a cool little couple pages here. We start really the first fight between a Jedi and a Yuuzhan Vong, a true combat between a Jedi and a Yuuzhan Vong. Now, bearing in mind that Mara is somewhat diminished in a way, she doesn't automatically pull her lightsaber. She actually starts with her blaster. And
kind of an odd move.
Well, she sort of she sort of says this, that she's not necessarily like full strength, so
true.
That's
easier
why she
to do.
Yeah. Because as we know, lightsaber is an extension of a Jedi, and a blaster is just a blaster. So anyway, what is it he said? Does he? Okay, we gotta go back here. Let's pick off some of this wordplay here. Exactly my point. Abomination. Okay, a sign of weakness that pervades your people. Again, talking about the droid, Mara said, "My people, who are you? I am Yamankar, the harbinger of doom. I am the beginning and the end of your people." Mara screwed up her face. "Do not mock me." And we all know that the Yuuzhan Vong are very aware of facial cues. So when you do that, it really kind of angers them, which is kind of funny. And at this point, he pulls out one of the bugs and lets it fly at Mara. She took a shot at it, but it dodged, and then she had to dive aside once, and then again as it swooped around. It started to loop for a third pass, but this time she got her aim and blew it out of the air. Yamankar is basically laughing at her, and then Mara turns the blaster on him. "I think you'll be coming with me." Ooh. No. Well, he laughed louder, and she said, "Don't make me," she warned, raising the blaster threateningly, as opposed to unthreateningly. And then he continued to laugh, and she shot him, but the plated armor turned the blast aside. So,
It's rock lobster. I mean crab people.
Invincible crab people armor that are somewhat impervious to blaster fire. It's pretty crazy.
Interesting.
So Mara at this...
Wonder if it's impervious to a lightsaber.
We'll get to that. So Mara is she's in a little bit of disbelief, and at this point, Yaman just unloads the thud bugs.
Throws like 15. Like
he throws
stars.
everything he has, all of what he has, and she's doing a good job of dodging and evading. She does finally get her lightsaber out and starts using that to defend herself. And let's see here. We want to get to the jelly.
Yeah, and then they use the jelly.
Oh,
Did
my
you know
goodness.
that cutting the jelly with a lightsaber doesn't really do a lot?
Yeah, I like the description. The gooey pie on the floor before her expanded suddenly and grabbed her feet. Oh my goodness! So she's basically dodging jelly, and Yaman's just sitting back here, just throwing thud bugs at her.
Yeah.
It's like sounds like a cheat.
Yeah.
Cheater.
It's like, yeah, you guys are amazing, honorable warriors. All right.
Yeah. Now the lightsaber does cut through the goo easily, but just separates it in multiple parts, and the parts continue to grab at her. And Yaman, at this point, you will not defeat it. Promise indeed. Each passing movement and each passing moment brought both the jellies up higher on her leg, trapping her even more. Oh, let's see here. So R2-D2 kind of breaks away. And he's trying to find Luke. But Luke, the droid, understood as he wheeled down the corridor, squeezed. He's basically off there trying to find Luke. But Luke's in his own little world.
Yep.
Maybe he has his headphones in, listening to
probably
listen to some death metal. Maybe. What do you think? What do you
I
think
was
Luke
thinking
would
Fall
listen
Out Boy.
to? You think Luke could be listening
Tom
to Fall
Petty.
Out Boy?
I think Luke would listen to Tom Petty.
I think that's fairly accurate. Yeah, I could see that happening. And then back to Mara and Goo. Oh, let's see
Okay,
here.
hold on. I do before we move on.
Go for it.
I just think it's funny how sometimes they forget that these people have a connection to the Force. It's like with how in tune Luke is with his senses, and being his wife that's in danger. Don't you think he would have sensed that?
It seemed a little bit strange. I mean, eventually he does, but it seemed
plus the blaster fire and the ruckus, and and they're in the same building. It's not that big of a facility.
Hey, man, they're just writers. They don't think of everything.
But again, they turned into a horror, movie
Right.
for a second there. So he can't pay attention.
Exactly. So, again, back to Mara here. The warrior came on, staff sweeping down, and Mara ducked at the last moment. Came up tall and sent her lightsaber up high with a rolling motion that kept the staff out wide. Yaman dropped to one knee and brought his staff horizontally above him, hands out wide to intercept. Mara fully accepted her powerful lightsaber would sear through the staff and end the fight abruptly, but amazingly, the tattooed warrior's weapon caught the lightsaber, accepting the brunt of the hilt without apparent damage. And Yamankar twisted his hands aside as he came up fast, throwing Mara's blade off aim. So these staff weapons can hold up to lightsabers.
Which I was really hoping when they first described it. It's like, oh, please use that in a lightsaber battle, and please let it be useful.
It just seems kind of weird. I mean, it's an organic snake.
Yeah, even turning rock hard, it's like, well, it can cut the rock.
Hard. Like a rock. Oh, like a rock.
But, I mean, if the Last Jedi taught us anything, lightsabers can cut through rocks.
Like a rock.
But anyway, I digress.
Anyway. Oh, let's see here. So, where was I at? There we go. She should have stepped back to regroup, but the many tiny jellies still held one of her feet firmly, and she could only twist back so far, but not far enough for her to bring her lightsaber into parry. I swear I can read. Yamankar snapped with the snakehead end of the weapon, and to Mara's horror, the head opened wide, its maul fangs dripping venom. She slapped her hand inside the angle of the blow against the shaft just below the head and was quick enough to retract it as the snakehead turned to bite at it. So basically, she slapped the staff and removed her hand quick enough before the snake could bite her.
Yeah.
Seemed like you could say that in not so many words. The lightsaber's glowing blade swooped in. An upturned, turn the page, and wash your hands. Circular parry between the two, forcing Yamankar back, and with the movement of pause, Mara slashed it down beside her foot again, cutting in half the last piece of jelly large enough to hold her. Then she let God, I can't talk. Let back. Though not far, it was as if she had wads of gum stuck to the bottom of her feet. You are worthy.
Oh, he said the thing.
Yamankar congratulated and starting to nod and used that ruse to swing about quickly, his staff elongating and becoming supple suddenly.
Supple.
2 words. Finding your balance
And
supple. Just going to leave it at that.
Yep.
Let's see.
And creamy white skin.
Oh, my goodness. Let's stop that. More a whip than a bludgeoning weapon.
Whip.
So now he's going through with a whip. We're not doing Family Guy today.
Okay.
Mara tried to leap back, but the jelly still grabbing her slowed her down.
Which I thought
Cough,
she cut
pause.
free, but okay.
No, there's gum on her shoes.
Yeah. She cut the jelly free, but there's gum.
Yeah, let's see here. The whip snapped around the lightsaber, a strike so perfectly aimed that the head still came in across the woman's arm, fangs cutting deep scratches. Okay, I must have missed that. So it did. He actually fanged her.
Yeah.
Cool.
Question is there venom?
Yeah, we'll
Does she
see.
have to worry about venom?
Now, Yamankar howled in victory at this point, but Mara took the burning hilt, focused her energy suddenly on the part of her body, and forced a blood rush.
I forgot that.
A blood rush. That's like a sweet like Norwegian death metal band.
Blood rush. I think Mara's the one that listens to death metal.
I think she does. I could totally see her just jamming out and rocking out to some Norwegian death metal.
By the way, has a Jedi ever just forced themselves to bleed?
Yeah,
that's the Force.
Yeah, no, Luke, suck the venom out. No, I'm just gonna blood rush him.
Oh, too much.
So anyway, she blood rushed. That seems like something from a Blade movie.
It
Blood rush.
like that scene where they're all in that nightclub. Blood rush.
Copyright. Okay, so this blood rush apparently washed away the poison before it could begin to take hold, which is awesome, by the way. if
Yeah,
you could
that
do
was like the coolest thing in this chapter.
Yeah.
In this book. It's just awesome.
She accepted that this opponent possessed weapons that she could not anticipate.
Really? She just now realized that.
Just now. And so she went on to the offensive immediately, charging ahead and launching a series of thrusts and slices that had Yamankar backing. And all the while, he tried to retract his weapon to staff form to give him something with which to parry. Now, here's the thing. So we know that the Jedi cannot really sense the use involving the Force. Now, there's a reason for that. We'll get into that much, much later in our series. Well, not much later, but we'll get into it later in our series. I'm not going to explain that right now. So Mara's just now kind of understanding that she can't use the Force to anticipate this creature's movement. So she has to use her superior skills while wielding a blade, a lightsaber.
Do you think that's going to come into play with the whole argument of using the Force or skill? With the argument with the kids?
Well, buddy, let's get to that bridge when we get to it. But anyway, so she's basically going on the offensive. She's hacking and slicing. She dropped her left knee down and back, pivoting away from the warrior, and brought her lightsaber in a rolling motion down, then stabbing back over her dripping left shoulder. Her dripping left shoulder.
From the blood rush.
Yeah, blood rush. A perfect angle to intercept the rushing snakehead. The tip of her blade diving into its open mouth, diving into its open mouth. She came up in a rush, arm pumping and slashing,
tearing the snakehead apart.
Yeah. So okay. So let's analyze this because we're professionals. So initially, the lightsaber could not cut through the rock hard snake, but it now just dismantled the snake head.
Turn supple.
Okay, moving on.
That's my professional opinion. It turns supple.
He turned supple. Oh, let's see. So Yaman leapt above the cut, and then as Mar came down with a backhand and then brought his weapon, now fully a staff again, down at her seemingly exposed head, Mar turned and brought her elbow flying up, her lightsaber coming across horizontally to intercept and hold the weapon at bay. Yamankar did not relent, pushing down with all his strength. Frightening strength for Mara, for indeed she, even with all of her inner power and determination, could not hold him up. A lot more strength. Very strong. She reached into the Force then, trying another tactic on the man, and then she nearly buckled, for there was nothing.
Nothing.
Very important. That was the only way she could describe it. Nothing. It was as if the Force was not a part of this warrior, as if he refused to acknowledge its existence in such a profound manner that it did not exist for him. So that's an interesting thing.
Ominous.
So now think about that. So as Master Yoda says, the Force is everywhere. It's part of us. It penetrates us. It uses us. It gives us. It buys us beer on Saturday nights. No, but I mean seriously.
With our money.
Yeah. Are you of age? No, but just give me an extra $5.
The Force is.
So anyway, but we've always learned that the Force is part of everything. But in this sentence,
It's almost as if you have a choice.
It was as if the Force was not a part of this warrior, as if he refused to acknowledge its existence in such a profound manner that it did not exist for him. So this is a race that maybe they just opted out. You know, they saw the contract. They're like, man, Force, penetrating me. Now I'm opting out of this.
I like pain, but that just sounds weird.
I'm going to let my Oogolith Mascure penetrate me. Thank you very
Thousands
much.
of times at once.
Yeah, okay.
Or is it the entire galaxy that they're from?
I don't know. It's an
Maybe
interesting
it's just
thing.
our galaxy that has the Force.
We're going to get more to that as we go through these books, which we're getting really thin in this book. If you look at this, can you believe how?
I know. We've gone a long way so far.
Okay, let's see here. I want to skip ahead a little bit. I wanted to read some of this because it is an interesting battle, but I don't want to read because it does go on for a couple of pages. Let's kind of.
No, one more page and we're done.
Yeah, I'm going to read this last paragraph, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. This part. Quick to improvise, she stabbed the warrior, who was as surprised as she by the fact that she was still down low in the knee. Then, as he howled in pain, she slashed her lightsaber across, taking him out at the knees and dropping him hard on his back. He started to roll towards her, bringing his staff across for her head, but she had the tip of her weapon out in time, pointed at his breast, and his own momentum drove him onto it, the lightsaber finding a crease in the magnificent plated armor where the blaster had not, puncturing the coat and Yamankar's chest, poking into his heart,
causing a blood rush.
I really hated the. I would have used any other word but poking.
Yeah.
I mean, it just started poking.
I poked it with my lightsaber.
I poked you. Anyway.
You did now.
That was really weird. But so he froze in place, staring hard at Mara. Hard. You are worthy, he said once more. And then he just stared at her, and it seemed again as if somehow if he somehow knew her.
Jedi.
Jedi, he
Jedi.
The flicker of recognition, my God, went away. All light in Yamankar's eyes faded, and he lay very still. So at this point, after it's all done, Luke bursts in, Mara! Oh, God.
Just wanted to mention real quick. The fact that Mara was able to hold her own that well with a use of
hand-on-hand combat. Hand-to-hand, yeah.
Able to parry all those blows, even a straight lock, multiple locks.
And she's diminished. I mean, she is diminished. She's not at full strength.
And not many Jedi have really fought the Yuuzhan Vong, but when Maul came up hand-to-hand against one, that was brutal for him. I mean,
Right.
he sustained a lot more damage than Mara, so that just tells you
Well-
how strong she is.
Well, Mara is a beast. I mean, there's no doubt about it. She is an absolute beast. So, let's see. Now, Luke's in here. Luke's basically like, R2, go ahead and download the rest of the stuff we got.
Look what I found.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, finish download. Yeah, his name is Yaman Karamar. Said I think he knew me. Luke gave her a curious stare. R2 bring up the image of all science to see if this was one of them, which obviously he was wearing his Oogolith Mascure. He wouldn't necessarily seen the face. There must have been another species living on this planet, he reasoned, or they invaded. Let me see. Which one? I don't know. Luke.
And the one species that just didn't happen to die from the plague, or they just invaded. Who knows?
Exactly. Now Mara wants to get the hell off this planet. Yeah. Luke's like, just give me, can you do a couple minutes, and obviously it's fine. But Mara does say he had weapons we don't know of, living missiles, and the stubborn jelly and the staff.
Jellies.
There may. I think that's a mistype, isn't there? There may be. Oh no, it's not.
There may be other enemies.
I'm just not reading right. There may be other enemies. Oh goodness. And Luke
started away.
I could not use the Force to gain any insight on him. It might be some kind of training against Jedi tactics. If he has allies similarly trained, they'll be upon you before you expect it if you try and sense them. So the Jedi are at
For once,
disadvantage.
they can't use that trump card.
Exactly. The trump card. Oh, let's see. You want to describe some of the stuff that Luke found? Because he does sort of go over. Cause I think he got into Yaman's locker or whatever, didn't he?
Yeah. Having completed a search, bearing a sack bulging as if it had two Tikawaka kicking balls inside. Okay. I don't know. Kicking balls.
Man.
They're cooking balls.
Kicking balls.
Mara looked at him curiously. I found them in room B7. Luke explained. Looking at R2-D2, he ran a quick check on his download schematics and brought the name Yeoman Carr up across the view screen. Luke searched into the bag and pulled out a brown leathery item that looked like a rigid ball. A rigid ball.
Yep, rigid balls.
A helmet? Mara asked. No, you idiot. Luke shrugged. I just found them. On a shelf in the closet.
I think they're alive.
I think they might be alive.
She does say put them in a safe place. They're probably bombs. And Luke starts to chuckle, but he realizes he's like, oh, well.
Yeah, it could be.
Probably could be.
Better put them in the ship then.
Yep. Now, Mara does kind of continue about sort of what it feels like to be on this planet, which is just a little interesting. It was just being there. I started feeling worse as soon as we neared Belkanen down there. She paused and shook her head helplessly. It was as if this disease within me was somehow bolstered by the plague affecting the planet. And the Beatles? And the Beatles. It's always the Beatles. You believe they somehow caused the damage on Belkanen? And, they didn't really have any evidence of this, obviously, but
But there's no evidence against it.
Exactly. Let's see. They also start to put together here that, she couldn't feel anything with Yaman Carr, and then Luke kind of comes up here, just like you said about the Ramamulian rebel Namanur. So they're starting to make connections here, but they're not really connecting Namanur quite yet to the Yuuzhan Vong, but it's a suspicion. Very superstitious. Oh, let's see here. Let's skip down to the bottom where isn't this the Villip that starts talking?
Said something else they could not
Torog Bark, Yaman Carr, Darwin Tugu.
Praterite Vong.
Yeah. So the Villip's trying to give Yaman a little message here, I guess.
And C-3PO will be able to translate that. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, C-3PO can do about anything. He's super cool, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what he's around for. Everything. He just does it all.
Let's see here. We've been running a little long here, so I want to continue to kind of try and get to the end here because a lot of this isn't really. If you guys are reading with us, you better be reading these chapters word for word.
Yep,
because we
we're
won't
not.
read everything. Only the cool stuff because we're cool guys. Let's see here. Now they are in this. Looks like the sensor logs here. They follow the course of the comet across the sectors until it was lost from view. R2-D2 brought up Excal's determinations about its course, the fourth planet of the Haleska system. Luke and Mara watched it in all disbelief with too much to digest, too many possibilities, and none of them adding up in a good way. Luke directed R2-D2 on what to search for and then went back to the pilot's chair with Mara and laid in a course for the fourth planet of the Haleska system. Fast forward to a new point of view. New point of view.
The ice of that fourth planet seemed attuned to his heart. A cold encasing eternal torment for the Jedi Knight Miko.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting curled in the lichen lighted. The lichen lighted.
The Lycian, lichens, I don't know, some sort of thing.
And heated chamber. Head down in his arms, an attempt of meditation that would not come. The road to freeing emptiness blocked by the barrier of horrible recollections.
Now, the last time we left Miko, he was basically, held on by the Amask, the war coordinator, and with his little tooth, his big tooth, and basically pulling him in. Now, we know, again, from that chapter that the Yuuzhan Vong don't necessarily physically torture you. Like, they're not going to, cut you and cigarette and waterboard you or something like that.
Well, they do that for fun on Tuesdays.
To themselves.
Exactly.
But what they're going to do is psychologically torture you. They want to break you. Because, again, they don't think that he's worthy. So they're going to try and break him mentally. And right now, he is swimming in his own mind here. This is the Yuuzhan Vong mind-breaking technique. And, Miko's basically, he's still there right now. He's saying, in his training, he came across the dark side of the Force. The specter of his innermost horrors, but even that paled beside the reality of the Amask. So, what he's going through is basically he's going through constant execution.
Yeah.
So it's like he's seeing the Amos pulling him in, right next to his big old twofer, and then bringing him back, and then just other ways to kill him. Mm-hmm. And this is what they kind of described in the last chapter. They're going to kind of drive it in your head that you're going to be killed, you're going to be killed, you're going to be killed, but they're not actually going to kill you. They're going to break you. And Danny can only basically sit here and watch. She's trying to comfort him, hold his little clammy hand and sing to him. I don't know. Maybe she sings him a little lullaby. What do you think?
You know what I think Miko needs? Miko, whatever he is.
Miko.
You know what I think he needs?
What?
He needs a blood rush.
Oh, God, you said that way too loud. That blasted everything apart. Rip headphones, man. God, don't ever do that again. Okay. But, she kind of knows what's coming here. They judged him unworthy. They're going to destroy him utterly, his heart first, then his mind, and then finally his body, and she can only watch. And that brings us to the end of Chapter 16. Next week, we're going to be diving into Chapter 17. I know that's how we count. The last pose of defiance. We are not on video. They can't see what you just did.
Know.
Anyway, what'd you think of this chapter, man?
Oh, it's great. I've been waiting for a good Luke and Mara.
It was good.
It wasn't a great Luke chapter, but it was an amazing Mara chapter.
Comes in at the end. Yeah, no, she like I
dope.
said, she's a boss. She even diminished at this point. She still took on a fully trained, fully fledged,
Staff.
strong Yuuzhan Vong warrior with his staff, with his snake staff and his thud bugs and his jelly.
Jellies.
Yeah, jellies, all the jelly. And again, right now they're learning that this is potentially an enemy that they know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Nothing. And this is kind of I'm sure that they're apprehensive, but Luke and Mara are heading to Haleska, and we're gonna see, man.
Who do you think's going to be the next viewpoint? Just guessing. Let's not look into it. No one look ahead yet. Just
Yeah, you know what? Wow.
I haven't heard from Leia.
Wow.
if Leia's doing anything right now.
What is she doing? She's still on,
I think
on the
she's
planet
just
with Lando,
kind
right?
of taking a break from all the crap.
I kind of feel like we're going to go back to Han.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big escalation. I mean, that's where I'd go next.
I think that's where we're going to happen.
But you know who we haven't seen for a while? The twins. What are they doing? Are they with Lando too?
No. Yeah, I think they are. I think they're with Leia.
I guess we're going to probably have a filler chapter after that then.
Very possible.
Probably have the three of them.
You know,
bickering.
again, chapter 17, what did we say? This had 25 chapters to it? Yeah, 25 chapters, 26 chapters.
These are going to be short chapters then, because we are running thin.
25 chapters. Yeah, we're getting down on this guy. I can't believe it. It's
of it left.
It's really
Or
been
quarter.
It's really been going by pretty quick. I've been enjoying
months
it.
in now. I mean, that's
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It
doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's been a pretty fun journey so far. Hopefully, you guys are liking it. Let us know. We definitely run on compliments.
Yeah, we
No, I'm
haven't
just
been getting A, so we're about to die.
No, it's all good. But I mean, in all seriousness, if you guys would like to discuss anything about the chapter, potentially pose your theories, or just add anything that you'd like to have on the podcast, you make sure to hit us up on Facebook. Austin likes to mess around with that because I don't. You can also.
Well, you did send a pretty good video, but I had no way of sharing it because
Really? Oh, you couldn't
I'm
share it
having
that
issues because I can't
Okay.
share from my personal account to the contingency plan account. They're not
Really?
linked in that way.
Oh.
So I have to save the video, and I couldn't save it for some reason.
way? I'll be done. Well, maybe if I shared it with the email,
Email.
bot, I'll have to do that. Yeah, because I mean, or I don't know. We'll figure something out. But yeah, it was a the fight, the music for the fight scene between Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? That's
Yep.
what that was from.
What is the name of that?
I can't remember what the heck it's called. But anyway,
Look that up while you're
so
talking about
you
it.
you had John Williams, directing this music, and there was a choir. If you guys remember the whole, but they put like they put all these words to it, and I don't know if that's what they're really saying, but I feel like it is.
How did I forget the name of that? You want to try one more time?
No,
Just guess.
I can't.
Duel of Fates.
Duel of Fates. There we go.
How do you
Good.
forget that name?
I forget a lot of things. But it's just really funny. So make sure to check out the Facebook page, hit like on that. And again, just let us know what you think of what's going on with the podcast. You can also leave your feedback on iTunes if you'd like, write a little message and
I don't respond there. I don't know how. So
well, no,
you can do that.
there's no responding there. It's just mainly, just letting us, give us a rating, give us a 5-star rating, or we'll find you. But anyway,
7-star rating.
oh God. But again, I mean, you can find us across all platforms now. I think I've disseminated this to all the platforms that have podcasts. I believe.
Just don't try and get us on Instagram
Well,
or Twitter.
yeah,
No tweets.
Yeah, I'm not really much into that. But anyway, or if you would like to just send us a long form kind of write up, you can hit us up at our email address. That is tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. And one more big thing, if you would like to support the podcast, just basically just help us upgrade the show, you can head on over to Patreon and just look up the Contingency Plan Podcast there. We have our Dinner with the Patron series. We'll build the tiers as people kind of, if we get anybody in there. And of course, it's not mandatory. We don't really care if Patreon has anything or not, but we'll continue to put up exclusive content there, just as a thank you. Thank you for supporting.
Yeah, we would really appreciate that, guys. But of course, either way, we're going to keep pumping out this free content.
For sure.
The
podcast
we
is
love
fun
doing
for us.
this. We love doing this. This is our childhood just personified. And the fact that anyone's watching and giving us that
Listening.
validation that, we're not complete nerds, it's nice.
Well, we're nerds.
It's nice to know there's a community of weird people like us out there.
For sure. So yeah, no, if just check out all that stuff for us, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. But I think we're gonna go ahead and sign off. So y'all have a great rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force be with you.